nervous system serves to recognize both the outside and inside world, or the outside and inside environment, and its responsibility is to create an appropriate response. What's up, everyone? Dr. Pablo here with Manifest Chiropractic. Today, doing a little bit longer form educational video going over the nervous system and its intricacies. If you have any questions, any comments, or you want to learn a little bit more about this or learn kind of what this means for you or your family, don't hesitate to leave a comment, reach out to us. We're here to help. If I asked you what the most important organ in your body was, what would you say it is? Got many options to choose from. Would you say it's the heart, the lungs, or the liver, the stomach? Well, if you're looking at the picture behind me, you would know that the answer is the brain. The brain is the most important organ in your body, and it controls and coordinates every function in your body from A to Z. No organ system in your body would know what to do if it wasn't for the reception of information into the brain and the instructions going from the brain out into the body. In general, I like to follow the KISS principle, which means keep it super simple. But today we're diving deeper into the nervous system as far as its embryological stages, postnatal stages, how it works, and also how it can malfunction and what we can do about it. For starters, let's identify what the nervous system actually is. So it's your brain, your spinal cord, and the nerves that exit your spine. This is the master control system, and without it, none of it would work. And it is so important that it's actually protected by the hardest substance in your body, which we would call bones, right? We have a thick helmet up here to protect the brain, and we have a backbone that houses and protects the nerves before it exits the spine and goes to every single part of your body. Now, this system is so important that it's the first to develop in the human body, but it's the last to fully mature, and we're going to talk more about that later. If we start from the very beginning, when mom and dad make baby, this is the first part of the body to develop. Here is a clip of a nervous system being formed. This is a 16-hour time lapse of an embryo, a new creation, and the development of that nervous system. This is a brand new life being formed and setting itself up for success with a neurological foundation that will eventually coordinate the development of other systems. This is happening before the heart is formed, before the stomach is formed, before anything else is formed. So it's pretty amazing how wonderfully made we are. Now, once this system is initially formed, it has to develop, right? 9 months of baking a cake, right? Throughout the different stages of pregnancy, the brain will actually differentiate and to develop into areas that will eventually control things like memory, movement, vision, and hearing. Throughout pregnancy, neurons will start to connect with other neurons, and neurons are the cells that make this whole system up. We start to see sensory pathways start to form, reflexes start to develop, and movement patterns start to emerge. And that's why even in utero, in the womb, baby is going to be responding to things such as touch, light, or movement. Now, from a brain development standpoint, conception to that first year of life is a very important time. In birth, at birth time, baby's brain is about 25% of its adult size, and then at that first birthday, it's 60%. So it's a very important time, lots of growth going on. What's important to recognize is that the brain and the nervous system is what keeps you alive. And this is just as true for a 90-year-old person as it is for a newborn. Very simply put, the nervous system serves to recognize both the outside and inside world, or the outside and inside environment, and its responsibility is to create an appropriate response. Now, the brain has to develop, and the way that it develops is by what's called sensory processing. And you and I know what's going on in the world around us by what we see, taste, touch, smell, and hear. For example, you go outside and you see that it's sunny, you feel that it's sunny, you understand that it's daytime. Or let's say you hear a loud noise or someone yells, you understand inside that something is urgent, right? That's the external world. Internally, you're recognizing as well. Say, for example, you break a leg. You're going to feel that something is going on and that you need to respond. Or let's say inside you feel a stomach ache, right? You're feeling and perceiving all of these things via your nervous system so that you can respond. Now, here is a great picture of how that sensory processing mechanism works. So in this picture, we see a hand, right? And that hand is touching hot water, right? You feel an external hot water input into your body. And so what happens is that message travels up the hand, up the arm to right here, what is called your spinal cord. Now, this right here is going to sit in your spine. That message is going to travel up to the brain, and you are going to perceive that you are touching something hot. Okay, so you're perceiving the outside world. And what's going to happen is a reverse mechanism of that same pathway where a message is going to go from the brain down the spinal cord to the muscles in the hand or to the body part and cause an appropriate response, which in this scenario, it'd be you pulling your hand back so you avoid hurting yourself. Here's another great picture, right? So there is a stimulus that you sense, right? That stimulus can be sound, taste, touch, hear, smell. And that sensing has to be transmitted up to the brain. The brain processes that and figures out, hey, what is actually going on? How do I need to respond to this? Once it decides to, or what is going on, it's going to respond. Now, in you and me, our brain is more or less developed. Our senses are pretty well developed, and the brain really reaches full maturity around the age of 25. But in a newborn, that hasn't happened yet. Us, we've had lots of experience to have those developments happen, but baby, not yet. Baby still isn't walking, baby still isn't talking. They're still developing. Now, the way baby's brain develops is through sensory and motor experiences, which, again, keeping things simple means play. Okay, with play, I'm thinking things like tummy time, things like toys, things like children's songs, also a comfortable environment, a nurturing environment, and physical affection. The brain is going to develop through input. Every touch, every interaction, every sound is information that it's going to allow the nervous system to start to develop and differentiate. So, playtime is not just for entertainment purposes, but it's the most important way for baby's nervous system to start to understand what the external and internal world means and also how to operate and respond appropriately within that. Now, diving just a little bit deeper into the topic, the nervous system is really going to have two main branches. You have your parasympathetic and your sympathetic. Para means stop in Latin. Your parasympathetic is going to be your rest and digest. Your sympathetic is your fight or flight. So I look at these as your brake pedal and your gas pedal. Generally speaking, I like to think of the body kind of along Goldilocks and the Three Bears when she was eating the soup or the porridge. One porridge or soup was too hot, the other was too cold, the other was just right. Thinking practically about this, if we think of the digestive system, if it works too much or too little, digestive system working too much is going to look like diarrhea. Working too little will look like constipation. Cardiac system working too much, that's called tachycardia. Working too little, that's called bradycardia. Now, ideally, we all want a soup or a body or health that is the perfect temperature, right? In a scenario, we want to have both of these systems, the brake pedal and the gas pedal, working appropriately. Say, for example, you are in a scenario where you are in danger. You better hope that your body can very quickly jump into a fight or flight state to get you out of danger. Let's say that you are wanting to rest, recover, relax, heal. You better hope that your body is able to get into a parasympathetic state so that you can do those things. Now, where we can get in trouble, where this beautiful system can become compromised, is what us Gonstead chiropractors are trained to look for, and that is big fancy word called vertebral subluxation. Different words I use to describe a vertebral subluxation. I can call this nerve pressure, nerve interference, neurological irritation. Different words that basically means stress on the nervous system. If you remember earlier, I described how this system is so important that it's protected by bone, right? Well, obviously your spine is not just one long piece of bone. It's many different segments, and those segments can move and they can become stressed and they can cause stress onto the nervous system. Now, when there is a neurological stress, what do you think is going to happen to that communication? What do you imagine would happen to things such as sensory processing when there is stress on the nervous system? What do you think that would do to a developing brain? What do you think that that would do to the gas pedal and to the brake pedal? Do you think that they would continue to function the way they're supposed to? Now, clinically speaking, in our office, one of the things that we're trained to do is analyze the nervous system. With Gonstead chiropractic care and gentle, specific, scientific chiropractic adjustments, we can make sure of that. That way, just like Goldilocks, we can have a health, a porridge, a soup that is not too cold, not too hot, but just right.